win first fight, but if they can get back in and actually get set up with the monster response, you know, it's not bad. Certainly something that Team 1 was favoring with players like Naga. But Insomnia right now needs to take this fight relatively quickly. Nocta able to find close arm. Massive early pick here for Insomnia, but answered in turn by Blacksow on the Emma, finding 2, and that immediately takes the wind out of Insomnia's sails. And why?
Well, they commit the ult?
Luna ult late to fight. Like, why? It doesn't feel good.
This sort of backline of Mantis and Luna Snow, especially on domination, it feels like it shouldn't work, no?
Not all that often, but I mean, look, when you play the Mantis, you get more options to get some burst damage in. And I mean, clearly, we saw the level of fear from Insomnia on giving up picks early in that very last fight where Invisible Boundary gets dropped by Line Pro, but you look at the point, it's not near the point. It's about 2 invisible boundaries away from the point. And it was just really tough because you look at all business and they just kind of say, okay, and walk back a little bit. They don't have to fight Insomnia in an invisible boundary that is that far away from the point, but I think the only reason why that boundary went down was some of the pressure that all business was able to continually put out.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it's such a unique composition, and I think that going back to it, I mean, Avast, this guy, Demon, in the air was just pure dominance.
Yeah, I mean, it was just constantly just showing up, dueling. Both the Insomnia Duelist players, just making sure that they aren't able to like move at all, pretty much, and just keeping the pressure on.
Ready to go. Still a very quick time here for all business. 2.5 minutes. Monk Mudda to the back. Time to dance, looking for the isolation. Finds 1, 2, 3. Easily cutting through Insomnia, and this is going to set them up. Just yet keeping the convoy moving. Line Pro's dance about to fade. Here comes Demon, blows the horn over. Doesn't get much. Passwell finding a little bit of room, and it's trade outs back and forth. Insomnia cannot leave the convoy here for any reason, or it is going to be over. Twisty dancing back and forth, trying to look for anything here, and in the moment, Twisty gonna go down in all business. They push off Insomnia and move on.
Versus somebody who's doing this well on Psylocke.
I mean, realistically, I think you need to be applying the same level of pressure to the other back line and hope that you end up getting the results first. I mean, it's really difficult to play against a top-class Psylocke player. We've seen many teams just kind of fall to pieces under the pressure. Insomnia, just another team in that cycle. And what more can you say? Monk Mudda looked amazing. And the fact that we have the highlight reel for it kind of proves that fact.
Man, this team is so good, and we could talk maybe about like roster building, right? I don't know if either of you have had the chance to maybe like be in a sort of GM type of role. I imagine you probably had offers of Ast or ZP in this case, but I don't know.
In the back office,
yeah.
So I've seen how it works.
You've seen, yeah. You're close friends with one of a world champion, right?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, I myself, I have the ring. I myself have a championship ring.
You actually did?
Yeah, of course. I worked on it, man. It was my baby too. So I mean, I do think overall, like, I mean, I guess then what's the question you're asking, Dustin? Exactly. I feel like that was lost.
The question is like, okay, I did get a loss because I was glazing too much. All business, right? This roster is looking damn good across the board. And I don't know, how do you come out on top of these like roster manias in this case, right? When all these players are moving across the board, is it finding hidden gems that kind of brings you back into contention?
I mean, I think that it varies a lot, especially for a game like Rivals, where I feel like it's kind of the Wild West to a degree in terms of like roster stability.
Because Level 1 Cook is playing Loki, you're right. It just makes so much sense. But they did get dominated, unfortunately, in Map 1. And I don't know, what do you guys think about that overall Map 1? Because like you said, it does bode well somewhat for all business. They at least forced out like a Wolverine swap from Team 1, which seemed to have some success, right? We were talking about, you know, Groot being super good and Wolverine being sort of like a counter. But at the moment, Team 1 just kind of were a nuisance, no?
Yeah, I mean, they really were. And I think the biggest difference that we saw is that, okay, maybe part of it is that all business didn't get to run with the Mantis this time around. So picks in neutral were, you know, going to be a little bit more hard to come by. But it just feels like the tables turned. And maybe this is just a difference in mechanical skill between the teams. But you compare it to the last match where all business were generally the ones dictating early pickoffs, and it just felt like things completely flipped here. For now, just going to be running away from Isidore. Still has the Galactic Legend ready to go at a moment's notice. Laying in the damage into the Hulk Invisible Boundary has been used, so you're going to have this window here, the Galactic Legend, if you're Jerky. You just got to stay alive here for a moment. Trust me is down. Into the air, Jerky goes. A little bit of dancing, and goes down. Doesn't get the chance to pop the ult. and may not get another before first point is underway.
Looking for contest.
Jumps through the portal, Kraken Impact gonna be used. Crisis, good opportunity, gets one reset, goes over and in, and Crisis off the Kraken Impact is a clean sweep.
And that's going to be the end of that fight. That's going to be end of all business for this map.
We're in there too, and I got news for you. Fate, been burned some calories, feeling hungry once more. Only 25 seconds left to Team 1. Looking to get the championship here. Another 2 pickoffs, and Fate grabs one, hangs out on the wall.
Wait, he's getting tricky with it?
Side.
Oh!
Yeah. May have been overstayed as Nectar really made it look good here on this defense.
Yeah, to be honest, man, like this is a tough one to recover from. This is such a beatdown, especially the way it happened with so many just pickoffs going against you. So many of these early dominant fight wins, and then the instant recap from the Sentinels, man. Like that's going to put 100 Thieves on their heels mentally, especially given that it seems to be more of a communication problem, right? And that's in a strange way. You'd think that'd be like, oh, that's an easy problem to solve. You'd think that'd be something you can maybe deal with in the series. But honestly, those are sometimes the tougher problems to solve, right? Somebody having a bad game on their deathmatch, you know what? Not that big of a deal. They can just come back stronger, write it off. But you know, some failures of team coordination, maybe people starting to blame each other, wondering where the problems are. Those are the real challenges here. 100 Thieves, see if they're up to the task. They have one map left to lose.
Yeah, I wonder why Avery was so aggressive there on that inside angle. I don't know if he got like pulled or hooked or something, or if he just decided to go that aggressive. But yeah, already 2 ticks given, most of the 3rd tick as well. And now you're against the passive of Jean Grey with the Phoenix. Ensong comes out too.
Oh, great catch as well from the Wolverine, followed up immediately. And we talked about the Thieves needing to strike hard and fast, and they've done just that, Dustin, getting the card
smooth. It was like butter for that squad. Also, on the Phoenix was able to match Terra at points, right? I think we saw how much value Terra was getting on that Phoenix. Nectar on the opposite side also was doing an incredible job, and then also on map number 1 too. So yeah, shout out to Nectar. I think throughout the series, even though their in-game name is definitely pissing me off, R8 New Roach. Not sure what that means, but it's fine because I mean Nectar on Psylocke was formidable.
Jake,
oh,
you know,
man,
in
this
Hero
map is a
Shooters,
beatdown.
in Hero Shooters, players generally have, you know, heroes that they're generally good at, right? You know, some people specialize in hit scan or projectile. The thing that really impressed me about Nectar within this given series is just, you know, it's a very versatile hero pool. We're going from, say, Wolverine to Phoenix to Psylocke. I mean, these are 3 very distinctly different play styles, and hard to tell that they are, just given the fact that it was played to such a high degree by Nectar.
Yeah, it's exactly what I want to see out of a duelist player, especially right now in Rivals, where, to be honest, I think it's most often your duelist players who need to be flexible, right? Like,
once we get remove Mantis, you probably allow Torch in, and then guess what? Speedery, known as one of the best flying players in the game, is always going to be a menace on that hero.
Jake, we really don't have a whole lot of highlights for the first round because, yeah, if you blinked, you missed the first round. It was some of the most pure domination I think we've seen here on Rivals Night Shift.
yeah, that first round, man, you can maybe write that off on Sentinels just being a little bit tired, just not playing at their best after a pretty bruising series against 100 Thieves. But nonetheless, man, I think you're happy to at least have round 2 be super close and competitive, right? Like, okay, yeah, you would have loved to make a comeback and maybe win this map. Obviously, that's better. But nonetheless, at least you actually, you know, acquitted yourself decently on map 2.
Oh, going for Cat Venom dives. You think that's too much? And Jake, oh my goodness, we're seeing it finally. The talk could come to fruition.
I actually think this is a great moment to bring out the magic because, you know, for the Sentinels, the question is, does this 3-3 setup actually have the staying power to tolerate some of the damage buffs that we've seen on these duelists? And it looks like, yeah, okay, Techie just committed to dying on the card. I actually like to see this from teams running the 3-3. You need to get these 3 fights in on first point. It's super important. They get a mass res as well out of Renko. And so the execution actually pretty nice right now from Sentinels on the 3-3 setup. Full burst of Venom down, maybe that's your best hope, but it seems unlikely as the unpause comes in here. Immediate rip of the Dr. Strange ult. Maybe just trying to catch some players off guard. But the Sentinels backline is so far away, right? All 3 of the strategists are such long range. Finally, Eddie gets on top of them, and Cal pops the ultimate with Magic. This has been massively buffed. The res comes in, but yeah, no chance for that one. And all right, Magic starting to really put the work in on this point.
I mean, Magic is such a fun hero to watch. I think it's actually one of the heroes that has like the most underrated fan base, honestly.
For this organization.
Now, let me ask you this here, Dustin, because in esports, transitive property is not necessarily a thing. Do you think that this game goes any differently if it was 100 Thieves here versus Envy, would they have had a better matchup, or is this just Envy actually just straight up above both Sentinels and 100 Thieves at this point?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Sentinels look like a pretty good team. That's the thing. Usually, the interesting part is that it's sort of like if we're talking about other Fight Night IPs that we got going on with Counter-Strike. You know how like you have the teams that dominate North America and stuff, and then teams that play well against other North American teams, but not so much internationally. That's kind of the way that Sentinels has always been. Like, they were always a team that did well versus Envy and Scrims allegedly in the mid-season. Didn't even get to play them though, because they only played against EMEA talent, and they lose to Citadel, they lose to Rad Esports, resulting in, you know, a not great finish for them. But apparently they were like the only team in mid-season doing well versus Envy and Scrims besides Rad. So this team's always done well versus the talent at home. So the fact that they lost 3-0 is kind of crazy